Hello and welcome everyone to the reading of the week for April 16th to 23rd, 2021. As you can see here, the sun is coming around. We're now getting sun in my reading space at this time of day. It's quite glorious, isn't it? Let's start with our intention setting, our prayer setting. I invite all of you listening to take a few deep breaths, get grounded. I like to see a tree root coming down from the base of my spine, anchoring me deep, deep into Mother Earth, bringing me into the present moment, into my now, and also becoming a clear conduit through which anything that no longer serves can easily and effortlessly pass down into Mother Earth to become compost for new growth. Creator, this is your daughter Titania, and I am here doing a reading for the highest and greatest benefit of anyone listening now and in the future. My intention is to be a clear channel for the information that we most need to receive for this coming week of April 26th to 23rd, and to provide that in a manner that will be easily heard, understood, and integrated for the highest and greatest benefit of everyone listening now and in the future. I call upon my higher self and the higher selves of all those listening, as well as an overlighting angel of communication to facilitate this exchange and ensure that it happens in the highest and best way possible for the greatest good. I'd also like to invite the four archangels to come and hold the four directions around us across time and space, creating a sacred container of light, of wisdom, of clarity, of healing, of transformation, of understanding, of integration. All those good things that are in our hearts and minds at this time, I ask that they be honored and recognized and taken care of. Thank you, Raphael, for coming to hold the East. Thank you, Michael, for holding the South. Thank you, Gabriel, for holding the West. And thank you, Oriel, for holding the North. I'm so grateful for your participation and support. We set the tone for ease, for clarity, for flow, to effortlessly cover what needs to be covered in the time that we have, and to have a wonderful time together, leaving this reading uplifted, enlivened, clearer about who we are and how we're going to be in the world, and whatever else is in our individual hearts and minds at this time, as well as our collective intention. Let's get to it. I said it before, but intention setting is really powerful if you're interested in doing cards, getting clear about why you're doing the reading and who you want to do it for and what the purpose of the reading is. It's really helpful because it directs our own energy and it helps us to connect with the energies that will be working with us. Intention setting is an amazingly powerful tool for anything in life, not just tarot. Okay, let's see. What do the cards have to tell us for the coming week? April 16th to 23rd. What do we need to know? Recent past, influences waning. We have the Ace of Swords. I find it fascinating how this card has been coming up so much. I suppose it's not really fascinating. It's absolutely appropriate. So what it's telling us is this energy of pruning, this energy of deliberately cutting away aspects of our life that no longer serve us, things that are taking our energy, that are draining us, that are not supporting us in being our best. As I've talked about before when this card has come up, as a gardener, when you have a tree or a bush that needs attention, it needs to thrive. And part of what you can do as the gardener is to come along and take away all the dead, disease, crossing branches, to open up the plant, and then to look at the structure of the plant and help guide it so that the center stays open and airy and light and air can circulate through the plant so that it can thrive, both from a nutrition perspective, the energy of the sun, and also from keeping it clear of pests. So we want to keep our lives free and clear so we can have more life energy and keep ourselves free of pests. So pests would be anything that drags us down, that sucks our energy, that makes us small, that keeps us from going towards the things that bring us to joy, that bring us to life. That's what we're here to do, is to live in alignment with our hearts, our enthusiasm, our joy. So this card is a reminder. It's about this it's sitting in the recent past. And so this past year, of course, has been really helpful, for us to spend time clarifying who are we, what's important, what are our values, where are we headed with our lives, what do we want to create, where do we want our energy to go, where don't we want it to go. I think a lot of people have realized how amazing it is to be working from home, to liberate all that commuting time and to be more productive in your home environment. And so, and all of the trappings and the extraneous stuff that have to do with commuting or being in an office, etc. So there's been a simplification for many. And this card is talking about that simplification, that coming back to basics, coming back to what's important, coming back to what will make you thrive, to what brings your heart to light. And then taking action, removing those bits that don't serve, and clearing things up, cleaning things up. Okay, present environment. We have the King of Wands. We have Kings of Queens. They represent the maturation of their suit from a feminine or a masculine perspective. And so wands are about creativity, inspiration, and passion. So the King of Wands is somebody who's very, very fiery, very inspired, very passionate, very engaged. And these are aspects either of a person in our field, or it can mean aspects of ourself that are we're calling on and we're evoking to be at our best, to be following our path. So in this case, it's the energy of creativity in our present, and it's about being masterful about our expression, really giving ourselves permission to be articulate, to be expressed, to, be clear about what we're saying. It's very much about standing in our truth, expressing our truth. You see, he's not in a fighting stance, but he certainly isn't somebody you'd mess with. And so there's this quality of energy of expression. We have the butterflies, which are like ideas and expression and life moving around, flittering around. And so it's okay for us to stand in our power. It's okay for us to stand in our truth, and it's okay for us to express ourselves and to be clear about it. We don't have to make anybody else wrong. But it's okay for us to have a different perspective. It's okay for us to express that to the world. And it's important, in fact, that we do. Because, of course, as we've talked about before, if we don't have many perspectives, how can we have good solutions? If we only have the perspective of a narrow group, it does not serve the collective. And that creates dissonance and creates breakdown and creates discord. So in order for us to move forward powerfully on this planet as a human front, we need to be expressed. We need to be expressing what's important to us. And many of us have different perspectives, and that's okay. It's important. The diversity is important. It's very important. So this is all about finding ways to stand in your truth and to be expressed in a masterful, clear, articulate, but at the same time grounded way. This is not about shouting from the rooftops just to shout from the rooftops. This is about being centered and grounded in your own space, knowing yourself and expressing yourself in an appropriate manner. The near future. We have the King of Pentacles. That's very interesting, very strong masculine energy in this reading. So the King of Pentacles is the maturation of the Pentacle suit, which is the earth suit. We had fire and earth is all about, it's practical. It's bringing things to earth. It's making things possible. It's making manifest. It can have to do with money. Can have to do with material things, but it's that earth quality, that grounded energy of, making a plan, following a plan, and working the plan and making things happen. And so it's interesting because in our near future, we have this energy of the King of Pentacles. So this being practical, being intentional, being deliberate, taking care of the material, taking care of practical things, putting those things in order. That's what the King of Pentacles does. He's very practical, gets things done, puts things in order, and keeps things level. The astrological signs that go with that are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. The qualities of Taurus, for instance, are that there's this love of life, of the beauty of life, of the beautiful things in life, of luxury, but not necessarily just extreme luxury, but comfort and practicality and things working well and being appreciative of those things working well. but taking care of those things as well. This is sort of the energy of the King of Pentacles, is these qualities of experience. So near future is this energy of getting things done, of being practical, taking care of things on the material level, and appreciating the beauty that's around you, and taking care of everything that you own, taking care of those things that belong to you, so that everything is honored and valued and respected and functions better. Because not only are you physically taking care of these things, but there is a quality of energy and love and respect that infuses whatever it is that you give your energy and attention to with life force, with vitality, with well-being. When we neglect something, it tends to fall apart. When we give it time and energy, it tends to work better for us and to serve us better. And there's just this other layer, which isn't always tangible, but there's this thing about when we care for our belongings, when we give our car a name, there's just a different quality of energy and relationship to it, and we tend to take care of things better. So just understanding that whatever we're going with our energy, wherever we put our life force, our attention, and our energy, that thing, it's like it becomes a little bit imbued with our life force, and it becomes a little bit more alive. And so it's worth it to pay attention to the things that we have. And that's why if you have too many things, it can be overwhelming. So finding the right balance. In our culture, we tend to have way too many things. Whereas if we have a simpler life, it's easier to take care of those things and to really value them and take care of them appropriately and not spend all our time taking care of them, which can happen if you have too much stuff. Okay, foundation of the reading. Why are we having the reading? It's the card of the Lovers. And this is a major arcana. And the card of the Lovers is interesting because you have this woman here. She's holding her partner in true love's light embrace. And all of her chakras are lit up. That's what these rods coming out of her body represent. It's this idea of her being fully conscious and intentional and alive. And yet the guy here is distracted by this other woman down in the corner here. So there's this quality of distraction from what your heart is truly calling you towards. This distraction towards the material, the superficial, that which isn't really congruent or true. Whereas here, this true love's light embrace already exists, and there's this opportunity to be happy in a way that's more deeply fulfilling and deeper quality, higher quality of life, deeper fulfillment. So this card, being in the position of the foundation, is talking about the energy of where are we distracted in our lives, or where are we allowing ourselves to be distracted from being in harmony, congruent within ourselves, in balance within ourselves. Where are we letting ourselves get pulled off our center by distraction? A lot of distraction right now on the planet, a lot of stuff certainly in the media. So one way to avoid that is to go on a media diet, unplug a little bit, get back into your own life, get back into your own body, doing things directly, getting your hands dirty, cleaning your house, your car, your garden, getting out there, putting seeds in the ground, doing something with your hands. It's so powerful for bringing you into your present moment right here, right now. So this is what the Lovers is all about. It's reminding us, this is the reading is all about. It's come back to yourself, come back to your heart, come back to what's true for you. How is the universe holding you? In a good way, with love, true love's light embrace. That is our dance with the universe. And how are we being distracted from our dance with life? How are we being pulled off of that, out of that? Because that's where our joy and our truth and our well-being is in that dance with life, not with the sultry distraction down in the corner. It's like wiggling a loose tooth. Feels good, but it's not necessarily the right thing to do. Okay. I don't know why that came in, but it did. Now, the next card is how we need to conduct ourselves. That's a card of sacrifice. So that's interesting. Hearts are about emotions, and this card is about a lot of emotion, sort of a sense of loss, a sense of grieving, a sense of, well, not happy. Let's just put it that way. But it's this understanding that as we navigate our emotions, and it's okay to have them. We are having them. They continue to happen. They will continue to happen. We are in human bodies. It's just what happens. This collective grieving, this collective sadness, this collective frustration, the collective energies, or whatever it is that's in our field right now. It could be anger as well. It could be resentment. It could be frustration. These are all energies that can be read from this card. So this is sitting in the position of how we need to conduct ourselves. And what this means to me is this energy of, yes, you have your emotion, but it's like finding a way to just be with it, not making it wrong, not trying to push it away, just recognizing that it's there. I'm feeling disappointed. Even giving it a name. I'm feeling disappointed about this. I'm feeling upset about this. I'm feeling hurt about this. I'm feeling depressed about this. And just by the giving it a name, we're recognizing that it's there in our field, giving it a bit of that attention and that energy, but not falling into the hole of making that mean that it's you. It's simply a frequency that you're passing through. It's an experience that you're having that's coming through your field and needs to be released. It's like a vibration running through a pond of water, a ripple coming through the pond of water that is you. It's okay. It's there. It's not there forever. It'll ripple out and it'll be gone from your field. When we hold on to our emotions and make them mean things, we tend to amplify them and keep them in our field longer than they need to be there. So how we need to conduct ourselves in the coming week is just to realize that our feelings are going to come and go. And it's okay. They will pass through our experience, and we can be curious about them in the midst of why we're experiencing them. We can look at them and go, okay, I'm feeling frustration, anger, sadness, grief, loneliness, isolation, whatever it is. Recognize it. Yes, it won't be comfortable, but if you give it a name and you just say, okay, I see, that's where I am, and it's okay, and I know this will pass. And to be kind with yourself as you go through that process will help move it through you more easily and give you more relatedness to who you really are. It's part of this dance with ourselves, is understanding that we are this incredible human makeup of experiences and emotions, and emotions are part of the wonderful thing about being in a human body. And we tend to make the bad ones wrong and the good ones good, but they're just part of our experience. And so by being the observer and just noticing what we're experiencing and giving it a name if we can, or understanding maybe why we're having that feeling, or maybe we're just tired. Maybe we just need to go to bed. Maybe we just need to go for a walk. Maybe we need to not drink so much because the impact for us is we're feeling icky after. Maybe it's sugar. I know for me it's both sugar and alcohol. I tend to feel really kind of bummed out and depressed after, and it's just not worth it. So understanding that there's this awareness that we have to have about ourselves and our field, and then with that awareness comes greater understanding. As I just explained, for me, I know I have biochemical responses to things, and it's not worth it to me to feel that way, so I make different choices in my life so that I don't feel that way. And I think that's part of what that awareness leads us to in our human experience is the opportunity to make better choices for ourselves that lead to a more fulfilling experience, a more enjoyable experience. Okay. How others are going to be. The card of seclusion. We've been seeing this one a lot too, haven't we? So this idea of taking time out to fortify oneself. But in this case, we have a Buddha sitting in a little enclosure. It's almost tent-like. But this quality of going within, of dropping into the heart, the self, the connection to the broader wisdom, going to that still, quiet place, to be resilient, to be adaptable, to find our peace, our inner peace. So even though we might be having these experiences, there's nothing stopping us from drawing on skills and abilities that we've been developing, many of us have been developing over this year, to just go within. And for many of us, we find this stillness, this peace in nature. So what we're going to be seeing from others is this they'll tend to feel a little further away from us because they're doing their processing. They're doing their inner work. They're taking time out to think about things, or to ground, or to meditate, or to anchor themselves, or to find their way back to themselves. But it's like they need to go apart to do that. They need to find a space apart to do that. And because we're the others in other people's experience, we may be finding that as well in our field, in our relationships with others, that we may be needing that time as well. And we may be seeing it in what's going on for others. And, considering that this is how we need to conduct ourselves, this card is talking about the emotions that are coming up, and this need to just take time to be with them, to recognize them, and let them run. And this doesn't mean pausing your whole day. I mean, this means taking a moment and saying, I'm feeling anger. I'm feeling this. Letting it be. And then moving on with life. And of course, our meditation practice, or any practice that grounds us, helps us to be the observer, to step away from what we are feeling and just observe the experience and let it be, and let it move through us more quickly and efficiently. Okay, so the outcome, where we're moving towards signals. Oh yeah, lots of incoming and outgoing information. Boy, so from a higher octave perspective, we've talked about contrast a lot in past readings, the importance of contrast in our human experience. We're bumping around here on this earth plane, and we have experiences which are challenging for us, or difficult, or unpleasant, or whatever, but they rock us, they stir us up. And as a result of that challenge, or that obstacle, or that contrast, we really understand what we do want. We really understand what our preference is. And what this card is talking about, this card of signals, is this energy that we're sending out to the universe. We're not even aware that we do it. That's the law of attraction. It's based on our vibration. It's based on our frequency. It's based on the set point. So if you're constantly in a state of self-pity and depression and down on yourself, you're going to attract people and experiences that reinforce that. That's how it works. If you instead choose to focus on appreciation and gratitude, and you look at the beauty in the world, and you look at how good people are, and you give your attention to looking for those things, then all of a sudden it's like these more opportunities in your life show up for gratitude, for appreciation, for seeing the good in your fellow human beings. It's a very intentional game or dance that we're playing with life. We really get to choose. Our experience here is all about choice. We get to choose. Are we going to be distracted, or are we going to be on target? Are we going to follow our hearts? Are we going to be in harmony with and congruent with our hearts and our minds and what we know we're here to be experiencing, because that's what makes us feel joyful? Or are we going to suffer and wallow a little bit and fall in holes and trip ourselves up? We get to choose. And it's this awareness piece that we talked about over here, this awareness thing, that becoming the observer of the self is what it's about. When we become aware of ourselves, then we know how to take action. We choose. We make choices in the right direction. And it can, you just start where you are. It doesn't have to be a major thing. Just start where you are to make different choices. Okay, so the long and the short of it, of where I'm going with all of this, is that as we're bumping around here in our human experience, and we're coming up, and we're having our resistance, we're having our hard times, our challenging times, we're always telling the universe what we prefer. We're launching our desires out into the universe. It's just how we're wired. The universe knows what we prefer, because as soon as we experience something that we don't like, we're clear about what we do want. And that energy comes out of us, and it goes out into the universe, and it attracts into our field. So what this is talking about is that energy right there, that launching of energy and the return of the energy. So it's really, really important for us to realize that through our choices, we're actually changing how our interaction with the universe is happening. It's our choices and our own experience are changing everything about the outside world. Because when we make choices, we send a different frequency out, and then the universe meets us in that different place, and it just changes. And it can be small. That butterfly effect, that small choice can have a huge and dramatic impact in your experience. So this is the energy around this card of signals. as we've been going through this year, we've been having our experiences, we're getting clear about what we like, we're getting pretty clear about what we don't like, what we're tired of, but this energy is going out into the universe. And our work is to continue to align up with our enthusiasm, because our enthusiasm is life calling to itself. It's the life that's living through us, pulling more good towards us, more of what we want towards us. So the enthusiasm piece is important. So anyway, ultimately, we're coming towards this energy of signals. This card, this outcome card is signals. It's like we're standing in our truth. We're expressing ourselves. We're making things. We're doing stuff with our hands. We're making congruent choices. We're focusing on what's important to us. We're getting clear about what's important to us. We're spending time in meditation, contemplating, grounding, clarifying, cutting away the dead wood, letting the emotions that are happening, because we're human, just have their flow, but becoming aware of them and giving them a name and not being stopped by them, but just letting them be, letting them flow through us like the ripple of energy that they are. That's all they are. But letting it inform us. When we're feeling not good, we're clear about what would make us feel good. And that's that energy that we launch into the universe and becomes the signals, this exchange of energy. You can play with this. You can play with this in the universe. You can play with your point of attraction. Just observe. Step into that space of observer and just see what happens when you start practicing gratitude. How do you feel? What does your life look like? What comes to you? See what happens. It's that verification, which is the higher octave of the lovers, is this energy of verification. Play with life. Try things on. Try the law of attraction on. Don't take my word for it. Play with it. One thing I will say, though, is that the law of attraction, there's a lag. Things don't happen immediately here. They're getting faster. Those of you who've already played with this and understand this a little bit, you know that that gap is getting smaller between when you have your asking and when the result shows up. But happily, in human form, there is a bit of a lag, because sometimes we're pulling things in that we don't necessarily want, and so it gives us a chance to kind of clean that up a bit. But it's all about us learning what powerful creators we are. And we do that by trying it on. We do it by trying things on. And we do that by lining up with something simple, giving it some energy, thinking about something simple, and then thinking of it with appreciation, with happiness, with joy, then letting it go and seeing it show up in your field. So one of the teachers that I follow, some of you are familiar with the story, she was coaching a woman in a session who wanted to understand manifestation better. And this idea of verification was what she was teaching this woman. And she said, don't try with anything too big. Like, don't try with a new car necessarily. Don't try with a brand new house. Start with something small. Start with something like butterflies. Start with something like blue glass. Start with something like a feather. And then she talked that around a little bit and got energized around it. And then she let it go. The session was finished. She went off, had her lunch. On the way, there was a feather in her path. She didn't think anything of it. They went by a bush full of beautiful butterflies. She didn't think anything of it. She had to go into the store, and before she went and had her lunch, and she just couldn't resist. She had to go in, and at the back of the store was this blue glass, this display of beautiful blue glass. And then it hit her. She remembered what she'd been doing, the coaching she'd been doing with that woman. So that's the kind of example I think it'd be fun if you tried, the verification that you tried with the universe. Start with something small and just pull it into your field. Just see what happens. Don't be attached to it one way or the other, but just try with something like that, an idea like that, a butterfly, a feather, blue glass. Maybe take up 3 different things. Make a note to yourself so you remember, and just see what happens. And that's playing with the signals of the universe. That's being engaged as a co-creator with the universe. And that's the energy of wands. It's this creative, generative energy. And it's artistic, it's creative, it's passionate, it's fun, it's the fire of life. But that's what that energy is about that creative, generative energy that we hold, and our capacity to make things and to make things happen. We're more powerful than we realize. And when we start to understand that, we can really get down to co-creating powerfully on this beautiful planet with each other and with life. Okay, so that's the reading of the week for this week. Let's summarize it. Let's pull that card to grow on. Okay, thank you, cards. So at this point, we want to call upon the cards to give us one card that summarizes all that we really need to understand or grasp for the week ahead. How do we need to proceed? Taking the understanding of the broader reading and making it part of us, so we can have a week of beauty and ease and flow and well-being. Okay. And the card to grow on for this week is oppression. Oh, it's such a good one. Okay, so this card, the oppression card, 10 of Wands, you see this guy. He's like bent over backwards, carrying this crazy heavy load. I'll bring it up a little bit. But this card is reminding us that often these things that we're carrying around are not even ours. It's stories, it's programmings, it's beliefs. It's the, they talk about in the 4 agreements, the domestication that we've received. It's not us. And so why do we keep carrying it around? Why do we carry this burden that isn't even ours around? It's a good question, isn't it? So this week, coming back to this idea of what brings you to life? What do you enjoy? And are you bogged down? And if you are, could you have a new perspective on it? The good thing about being bogged down is it helps us with our contrast. But contrast is and contrast works whether we're aware of it or not, but it can be really powerful for us to become aware, to become the observer in our own field and go, look, that I'm doing that thing that I do and it's not happy and I keep doing it and it's really not serving me. But this is where we get to break old patterns by becoming aware and seeing how we're being, what we're doing, how we're feeling about it. We start to understand what's going on in ourselves and we start to make different choices. And that's how we shift everything, not only within ourselves, but also on this global planetary scale. This is our tremendous opportunity to unpack a lot of the garbage that's in our field and let it go so that we can be free to express ourselves beautifully. So this week, when you feel beleaguered or you start to feel heavy, let me just ask yourself, is it mine? Is it even mine? Do I even need to be carrying this? Is it even important? And then choosing to let it go if it isn't. Choosing to reframe and say, what would I prefer? Where do I want to be giving my life force? So that's our card to grow on for this week. I hope it's helpful to you. May it do you lots of good. Creator, this is your daughter, Titania. Thank you for the opportunity to do the reading this week. Thank you for the information that has come through. I ask that you help each of us to integrate it to the best of our abilities, to live into the possibility of who we really are, to unpack all the old story, to prune ourselves of all the old, the dead, diseased crossing branches, and to open our hearts and minds up to new life and new circulation and new energy that's in alignment with who we really are and what we're here to do. I give thanks to all those who've helped us, who are holding this beautiful space for us, who are here supporting us as we grow, as we release the old, as we move towards our greater capacity in the new, what we can co-create together beautifully and magnificently. I'm grateful for the understanding that we are receiving about who we are and how we operate on this planet, and how we can be more effective and efficient in that, to become the observers of our lives, to become patient and kind with ourselves, to recognize that our feelings are just an aspect of ourselves, they're not who we are, and to become informed of ourselves by dropping into our heart, knowing ourselves better, and making choices that are more in alignment and congruent with who we are and why we're here and what we want to be doing. The reading is at an end for this week. Much love and light to everybody. I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye for now.